back to the Acorn Cottage Knits podcast. My name is Jess and this is episode 10. I am a knitter. I'm based in the northwest of England. I live here with my husband Sam and I am trying to get back into consistent podcasting. Apologies if the lighting is not great. I can see actually that's causing weird shadows on my face. I'm going to try it without the glasses, see if I can see enough of what I'm doing because of basically where I've had to move to try and get a chair, and the light coming in is making weird shadows. So we'll roll with it being slightly blind and hopefully I can still read my notes, but yeah, we'll see where we get to. I also hope you can't hear the washing machine in the background because that's just started making a load of noise. So anyway, welcome back, and if you watched the last episode, thank you so much because I know that was the first one back in a long time. So admin as usual to start with. So what do I need to tell you? So you can find me here on YouTube. Obviously if you're watching this you've already found me, but the name of Acorn Cottage Knits is what you will generally find me as on Instagram and on Ravelry. So yeah, feel free to say hi on either of those places. If you message me on Ravelry, fair warning, it will probably be a while before I see it, but yeah, Instagram is probably easiest. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I would be immensely grateful, particularly this time round, if you could subscribe. I am 2 off having 300 subscribers and genuinely never thought that many people would come and watch this random little podcast. It is highly unprofessional. I forget what I'm trying to say half the time, and the fact that there are potentially 300 people wanting to subscribe to it is just insane to me. But yeah, if you could and just help get me over that mark, it would be a really big achievement for me, so that would be great. Other than that, please do follow along on Instagram, pop up and say hi, either send me an Instagram message or comment down below. Just say hi, let me know what you're working on. Other than that, if I think of any questions as I go through that I would generally throw out there, please do let me know your answers because I do love to hear those. There's no what I'm wearing today. It was freezing and cold and rainy this morning, so I just had to put on a cosy jumper. There was no knitwear coming out when I had to go out and about in the rain. Nowhere exciting, just had to go and do the food shop. It has brightened up now. So this podcast is actually very unplanned, which you can probably tell because I don't know what I'm saying or anything. But anyway, I've very quickly scribbled down some notes. I was supposed to be playing cricket today. It got cancelled because it's chucked it down all weekend. It's a Sunday today, Sunday the 6th. So yeah, it's been so wet that basically the ground was just gross and not really good to play on. So that got called off. We'll see how things progress with the weather. It's, as I say, it's quite sunny now, so hopefully that doesn't mess up the lighting too much, but yeah, this is about the 5th time starting this, so we're going with it and we'll see. So first up, I kind of have a finished object. It's kind of cheating though. So you could sort of say it's a half finished object, but I'm claiming it's fully finished because there's nothing else to show you. And also it was part of a make along which has now finished, and you only had to make this amount of it to kind of get through the make along. That makes it sound like an ordeal. It wasn't. I did enjoy it. So you might well have guessed what it would be. It was my Stephen West surprise sock along sock. So this is the right sock and it's all finished. I haven't blocked it yet. I've just popped it onto this blocker for the time being. So this is what we've got. Just hold it up. I know I wave things around a lot when I hold them up, so we'll just try and keep it still for a minute here. What can I tell you about this? So it's the West Knits Surprise Sock Along 2023 pattern. You've probably seen loads of people online showing their versions of it. There's been so many cool colour combinations. So if I try and bring it a bit closer without falling off my chair. So we've got this top bit with the ribs and the cable, this sort of zigzaggy part. If I turn it on that, it looks more like zigzag maybe. a sort of basket weave section, another bit of zigzags with this really cool cable running through it, and then I don't know really how to describe that bit, but the foot and the toe. The toe is broken rib as well, which does look really nice. I made the second size, and I don't know why, but mine just looks shorter than some other people's. I did the amount of rounds it said in the pattern. Maybe other people it's because they've blocked theirs and it's stretched up a bit. Yeah, it does have quite a bit of stretch in it, so maybe that looks a bit more like what the people's are. Yeah, the yarns I've used, that's probably a good thing to tell you, is Ducky Darling's yarn. It's one of my favourite hand-dyed yarn producers. So the yellow colour, which I've used as the main colour for the pattern, is piña colada, and that's the normal superwash merino nylon sock base, I believe. And the other one is this sort of reddy purpley colour, which is Pimms O'clock. It's actually a bit of a kind of a speckled colour. If I bring it closer, hopefully you can sort of see the colour there. So that one, I'm just going to see if I wrote it down last time. No, I didn't write down what it was. It's a BFL nylon, I think, so Blueface Leicester. I didn't plan to have it in two different bases. I just knew I wanted to use these yarns, and to be quite honest, I hadn't really registered that the Pimms O'Clock one was BFL. So it was no surprise when I wound it up and looked at the label, but it's so squishy, and it feels fractionally squishy. It's just got a bit more of like a fuzzy halo around it, so it's made the sock feel like it's got extra texture to it by having those two different bases kind of through the stripes and things. So that is what I've used. Oh, going back to what I was saying, second size, and then the pattern kind of tells you roughly where to go up to before you start your toe. Now, I don't know how well you can see, but right here at the end, there's just a bit dipping down here, and I think that would have turned into another zigzag section. Now, I literally just had to start that bit of pattern and one plain bit of the yellow round before I was due to start the toe. I very nearly went back and tried to go back and change these little bits. In the end of the day, it's going to be on my toes, it's going to be in the shoes, no one's going to see it, and I couldn't be asked to go back that far, to be honest. So I've left it. It probably would look better without it, but I don't know if that shows you any better. Just sort of see that last little bit going up. No one's going to care, are they? They're my socks. As long as I do the other one looking vaguely the same, that is all I need to do. So I do need to cast on the left sock. I might try and do that later today. I think I need to get it done, otherwise they will just sit there and not get made. Right, I'm putting that down because I'm waving it around. Sorry, that's probably really annoying. You probably just sort of heard it hit the floor. So yeah, I'm going to try and get the next one cast on. I think I'm going to do it, so the pattern had instructions for left and right feet, so like the slanting bits went opposite directions. I will probably do it so that they do have that opposite slant, but I'm going to stick with the colour. So some people have like flipped the colours so that their, what was the contrast colour becomes their main colour, and the other way around. I think that would really annoy me wearing them, that they just wouldn't match, so I think I will stick to having the yellow as the main colour. I don't know if I would wear these socks out and about that much, but they'd be really good cosy indoor socks. And to be quite honest, like, so I was saying to some of my knitting friends who we've all done the sock along, I probably wouldn't have picked that sock if I'd just seen the pattern for it. I completely get that with these sort of mystery patterns over a 4-week period, it needs to be something different every week, and you know, credit where credit is due. I do not know how Stephen West thinks up these things, but it's just a bit busy. I think it's not what I would have chosen. I'm glad I did it, and it was fun to be part of the challenge, the make along, but yeah, it wouldn't be what I'd have gone for just on my own kind of choice. But yeah, anyway, we'll see where we get to with the rest of the kind of sock stuff. I don't know. I don't know where we're getting to with that. I need to do the second sock, end of. That will probably come back as a project, so whip, maybe a finished object at some point, but I won't go into too much detail about them in the future because I've rambled on plenty. That is my only finished object this week. I say this week like I do it every week this time round. So I've got a couple of whips. One of them isn't knitting, but it is craft. One of them is knitting and it's new, and one of them has been languishing for a while, but I need to finish it, so I thought I'd bring it here and witter on about it for a while. That might give me a bit of a kick to get it sorted and get it finished. So we'll start with that one, because that is top of the list of what I wrote down. It's in my canvas bag from Beautiful Knitters, and it's quite a big project, as you can probably tell. But there are a couple of balls of yarn in the bottom of there as well. I'm going to try and hold it up as best I can to fit it on the screen, but I will take it down again from the picture, mainly because it's going to cover all of me. So this is what we've got. It is a blanket, which you could probably guess. The pattern is the Chevron baby blanket. The pattern designer is Espace Tricot. Can't speak French, so who knows if that's pronounced right. Free pattern on Ravelry, so yeah, it's been really easy to do. It's Aran weight. I'm using the Stylecraft special Aran. So cheap acrylic, and yeah, just really easy pattern to work through. It's for my nephew, so he was born, end of December, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So he's about 7 months old, I think. I do need to get it finished because I kind of promised it to my sister a little while ago. So you can probably see there's some colour repeats. If I take it back down to the starting edge, so you've got this sort of chevron right from the start. I'll try and block that edge a little. I'm not going to block the whole thing very aggressively, but I will try and just pin that out so it has the nice shape to start off with. So I've done 4 colours in the kind of the block repeat. So sort of a duck egg, teal, and then 2 various blues. So I've repeated that again, so duck egg, teal, blues. I'm on the 3rd set of repeats, so I just need to do this white bit, do the blues, and then end with a white row. It's quite a quick knit because it is obviously quite large yarn. And what needles is it on? I'm going to say either 5 or 5.5, which one's, yeah, 5.5, so quick and easy. These are just a Knit Pro fixed circular. Don't ask me what length, it's just what I had knocking about, and it seemed to do the trick. So that is what I'm going to try and get done fairly soon. Oh, there's so many ends. That is going to be not fun to deal with. I hate sewing in ends. So that is the whip that I'm going to try and motivate myself to finish. It would just be a good one to get off the list, I think. And then that bag has also been hanging on the back of the door handle on my spare room, so it'll clear that up. And yeah, that's the first whip. Second whip is, just bear with me, I really need to find a little table that I can have my projects on because they get scattered all over the floor. So the second one is actually another free pattern, and it's a pattern I've wanted to make for a while. You might remember, it was, yeah, last podcast I said I was wanting to make non-vanilla socks. Nothing wrong with a good pair of vanilla socks, and they have definitely got their uses for being easy to knit without needing concentration, but I'm just starting to get to that point where if that's all I do, it's getting a little bit boring. So there's a couple of patterns I'm going to mention at the end. because I did say last time if you've got any suggestions then let me know, but just to show you what I am working on currently. So I've not done loads yet, but I am really enjoying it. Just make sure that we're not going to fall off the needle. I don't know how well that colour's going to show up, to be honest. Hopefully you can sort of see it. So they are the broken seed stitch socks. The designer is Hanna Leväniemi. I'm sorry, that's butchering pronunciation again. The pattern's also available in German, so I'm assuming it might be a German surname. But again, available on Ravelry. So I know I definitely do have a project page up for this one as well, which you could go and have a look at. I need to get some photos up on it. In my head, I think it looks really like a mermaid. So it looks kind of like scales, and it's a quite colourful yarn in terms of the variations of the colours, but the white really kind of tones it down as well. So how many rounds on the leg, or the cuff did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 rounds on the cuff, which is probably what I would normally do. I'm making long socks, so that's what I tend to do on a longer sock cast on. And then 10, 20, 30, so I'm about halfway down what I would probably do on the leg. Again, it's been a couple of weeks since I've picked these ones up, but I will keep going with them. The yarn that I'm using, so the white is just a filcolana arwetta, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. On the colour, it is, which is the numbers, so it's colour 100, I think it's just their plain white one. And then the coloured yarn is honestly one of the most gorgeous yarns. Now I've had this in my stash for a bit over 18 months. It was a Christmas present from my sister. She got it for me from Tribe Yarns in Richmond, or they certainly were in Richmond. I know they are just due to move up to Scotland, but when the Richmond shop was there, and she used to live nearby, so she bought this for me. I've known for ages actually I wanted to do the broken seed stitch socks. I then didn't say the pattern, forgot what it was called. It took me a while to find it again, and then I kept faffing around in terms of getting hold of the arwetta. But I finally got around to casting them on, and I love it. I knew it would work really well with this yarn, and the yarn is just so soft as well. So the composition of this one, so it's 80% superwash merino again, but then it's 10% of the nylon and 10% cashmere, and although it's only 10% cashmere, gosh, you can feel that difference. It is so soft, like I could just squish into it. I do this apparently when I open a skein of yarn, like if I get it as a present or something, or just it comes in the post. So my husband says I will hug yarn when it arrives. Like, I don't know. Am I weird for doing that? I don't know if I want you to answer that question actually. Maybe other people hug yarn, I do not know, but that is what I am using, and I just love all the colours. So it's got a sort of a more neutral base, and then it just got pops and like splashes of bold yellows and turquoises and purples. It's like really strong kind of royal gemstone colours, and I love it, and I'm going to love these socks once they are done. We'll see how that goes. I'm not really setting any deadline on those ones. They're pretty easy to do, but obviously it's a bit more concentration than a vanilla sock. But yeah, I will try and get that moving along a bit. So that is my second of the whips. I think that bag is from the Camels yarn. I think you get like a drawstring bag when you order yarn from there. And the third thing that I have under the whips is on the other side of the room, so bear with me while I just go and grab that. Right, so, sorry about that. I've now got the, well, not project bag, it's a wash bag, because it seemed like a decent option, and it came with a mini makeup bag which I'm keeping bits and pieces in. So, this is not knitting, but it is craft, and I'm going to go for it anyway, because otherwise this is going to be really short on content. So this is why I've not done as much knitting in the past couple of weeks. I have really got hooked into doing some cross stitch. So it's on its hoop at the minute. Hopefully you can see what I've done there. So it says, I assume that's going to be shown backwards to you, but I run on coffee and sarcasm, and then it's going to have like a flower all the way around, so I need to move it in the hoop obviously to get that other side done. I don't really know why I decided to do some cross stitch. I think I just wanted to have a go at it. My friend Karen, who is knitting Labradors, she has a podcast, although she's got a lot of stuff going on at the minute, so she's not been recording, but she did some floss tubes, I think is what you would call a cross-stitching podcast. Anyway, she really got me hooked on the idea of it, and I was looking on Etsy for patterns. That was probably the one which I found funny, but was also appropriate to put up in my office at work. I'll let you read into that what you will. But yeah, no profanity in it, but it's still very funny, and I think very true for me at work. Our work kitchen is honestly like a cupboard, and when we got a coffee machine, just like a filter pot thing, there wasn't space for it, so it lives in my office, and yeah, I very much made the most of having the coffee about 6 steps from my desk. So that is the cross stitch. I don't really know what there is to say about it. As I say, the pattern was just off Etsy. I'm using DMC floss or threads. I don't know what you meant to call it. I would have always called it thread, it's like embroidery thread, but I don't know if it's meant to be called floss or if that's the American version. Anyway, I'm not using the colours the pattern said because it was in pinks and I'm not a pink person, so I switched it to some blues, and I'm just sort of blagging it. Now, one thing I was going to say about cross stitching actually, so I have an app which you can like track your pattern on and things, but it's only a 2-week free trial, and it's like 18 quid for a year, and you have to pay that every year. Like if it was 18 quid and one off, fair enough, I might think it was worth it, but I just think for every year when it's not my main craft, it's just excessive. I don't need to pay that much. But if you know of any good cross-stitch pattern tracking apps for Apple, so iOS systems, rather than Android, because I know Pattern Keeper is only for Android at the minute, please do let me know, because I would really like to find one that works a bit better. A couple of other bits just to kind of cover off before I leave it. So I mentioned earlier I'd asked about some sock patterns for kind of patterned or non-vanilla socks. I definitely want to make some of the like colourwork pattern socks by Stone Knits. So there's some really cool ones with flamingos on, and some of my knitting friends are doing a couple of the patterns, so I would love to do those, and I may actually get those higher up my list just to give myself another go at doing some colourwork, because there's some other colourwork projects that I'd like to do on a larger scale, which I will talk about in a minute. So I might look at those. Then the lovely Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit podcast, when she watched the last one, she messaged me and suggested the By the Shore socks, which is by Nancy Wheeler. I haven't come across these before, but I like the pattern, and just generally Nancy Wheeler seems to have some great patterns, so I've added that to the list as an option for some self-striping socks. And in the last podcast as well, I made a very vague reference to a Crazy Sock Lady pattern, which I couldn't remember the name of, which I've seen people doing for self-striping yarn, and it's the heel toe do-si-do socks, so I thought I'd just put that in now so that, oh, for my own memory as much as anything. That was everything on the sock patterns, and yeah, there's not a lot of life news this time. It's been pretty quiet here. As I say, I was supposed to be playing cricket today. That's been cancelled because the weather's been rubbish. What else have I got for saying? yeah, the house is, we've got some more stuff being done at the start of September, so the decorator will be coming back to do a bit more. Other than that, it's all just kind of plodding along like normal. We are due to have a quick holiday towards the end of the month as well. So if you've got any tips for holiday knitting, when I will be packing very light. So we're only going for a couple of days and we have limited luggage that we're sharing between us. So yeah, let me know your suggested projects. We will be flying. It's only a couple of hours on the plane, I think. We've obviously got sitting around at the airport time, and there'll be plenty of chill time once we get to where we're going as well. So yeah, let me know your project suggestions. I think maybe like a sock and something else, but I don't know what the something else could be. I'm still working on my toaster tee, so maybe I should try and get that kind of pushed forwards, but who knows. Book-wise, I know I mentioned some books last time. So within our knitting group, we then have a book club. We've currently been going through The Brighton Mermaid by Dorothy Coomson. I think that's her surname anyway. Dorothy something with a K. I'm pretty sure it's Coomson, or something that sounds like that. I've just finished it as an audiobook. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was like top of my list, but no, it was perfectly enjoyable. That's the only book I've really been kind of following on lately. I need to make a habit of just trying to read a bit in the evenings and stuff, but we shall see. Other than that, what else? We've had a family wedding a couple of weekends ago, and we've got another family wedding for my husband's side of the family towards the end of the month. So we've got, yeah, quite a few things on, but it's not too crazy. Work's as busy as ever, so just plodding along with that. And the final part I was going to just cover, I put on my Instagram earlier if you had any questions for me, so I thought episode 10 was probably a good one to just do a little Q&A. So thank you if you did send me a question, and if you are watching this and didn't get a chance to ask a question, then please do put one in the comments and I can always cover it next time or leave you a reply. I always love finding out a bit more about the people that I watch and follow, so if you're the same, you know, ask anything. Yeah, it doesn't have to be about knitting. So there was a couple that I'd seen before I started filming this. So the first one was Glorious Day Flowers. Now I'm assuming she also does some crafting, but I don't know what her name is. It's just under Glorious Day Flowers on Instagram. She has asked if I will be going to Unravel, which is in early September, in Farnham, which is sort of towards the south of England. The answer is I don't know. I really wanted to go, and a bunch of girls from the knitting group are going, and I've not met all of them in real life, so I did really want to go and meet everybody. As far as I know, Unravel is on the Friday and the Saturday, and I need to be back here at home by the Sunday because we've got some cricket stuff going on. So it's just a question of whether or not I can get there and back. I mean, it's probably a good 4-hour drive each way, and as much as I want to go and see everybody, obviously fuel is not the cheapest, and you know, that would be a long day of driving, so I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. If I don't go to this one, I'm really going to try and get down there in the future. My sister does live reasonably close by, so you know, I could hopefully stop with her, but yeah, I'm not sure on that one. So if I'm there, great. If you're there too, I'll see you there, but otherwise I will be trying to get down to another one because I know that there are a lot more dyers who maybe don't make it up for some of the northern ones, but we'll see. The next question was my friend Leah, and she asked, what am I most excited to knit for autumn/winter? I really like this question because there is a jumper which I cannot wait to make. So I've actually just grabbed out the yarn that I'm planning to use for it, so just bear with me whilst I just reach down for it. Right, so now I've got 5 skeins of this. I have no idea what it is, who made it. Basically, when I went to Spring Into Wool, there was someone who was just selling loads of, I'm assuming it's undyed, but just basically shifting an absolute ton of this stuff. Reasonably soft, and pretty confident it is like a 4-ply weight. I'll be using this and this to do a colourwork jumper. So I really want to make the Hinterland jumper, which is a Julia Steingas pattern. Steingas? Anyway, this is from Yarn Unique and it's the Luxe Sock yarn, and oh, it is just so dreamy, so squishy and insanely soft. It's a 50% superwash merino, 50% silk. So it's a silky sock 4-ply, and oh, it is honestly quite possibly the most beautiful yarn ever. It's a really lovely, rich sort of purple colour. It's actually looking a bit more burgundy on the screen, but it is more of purple. So it's a colourwork yoke, and I think it's got colourwork at the end of the sleeves. So I'm using, this is main colour, this is for the colourwork, and that is my plan. So if you've not come across the jumper before, go and have a look at it on Ravelry because it is gorgeous. There are some people who've done it, the yoke has been in like a, well, it's not like a, no, not alternating colours, like a fade through the yarn that they've used on the yoke, and that's looked really cool. So I'm just going to be doing it in the plain one, but this is why I thought I would do some of the colourwork socks just to kind of get my hand in it doing some colourwork. I have done it before, but before committing to a whole jumper, I think, yeah, getting a pair of socks done might be a good idea. So that is the answer to that one. Now those were just the ones I wrote down, and just bear with me, I'm just going to quickly check on my phone for anything else. Okay, so the last 2 that I've got are both from my friend Lauren. I've mentioned her podcast before, it's Lauren Knits. So she's gone for a knitting question and a non-knitting question. She says, what's the knit that I'm most proud of? No, I don't know the answer to this. I'm really not sure. Oh, do you know what, Lauren? This has really stumped me. I think my first pair of colourwork socks, which were the, no, I can't remember what they were called. I'll put it in the comments if I remember to do that, in the description, sorry. But anyway, I did a pair of colourwork socks, which I do really like. And what else? Oh, I did a dress for like a 1-year-old. It was, I feel like the designer was maybe Susie Sparkles. Had a really nice lace yoke, and then anyway, that was a really challenging one to do because I kept messing up on the lace section, and it was definitely one which I had to battle through a bit, but I was very proud to have that one done as well. The other question she's asked is, what's my favourite pizza? Which I think might be just as difficult of a question. I like chicken and bacon pizza. If it's a barbecue base, even better. If it's like a create your own one, barbecue base, chicken, bacon, sweet corn, peppers, tomatoes, anything of that combination. Otherwise, yeah, barbecue chicken, sweet chilli chicken, anything of that sort of variety I would pick. So that's everything that I had for questions that were asked. To be fair, I did not give the general internet a lot of time. Yeah, it was very last minute that I was doing this podcast. So if you do have a question, let me know in the comments, and I will respond, hopefully. Thank you again for watching. I'm hoping to be back in a couple of weeks and we'll hopefully have a couple of finished objects for you. I need to make sure that I remember to do my knitting as well as the cross stitch. So I'll leave it there for today. I do hope you've enjoyed watching. Thank you as ever, and I will see you next time. Bye.